Hi guys, welcome to this video, welcome to this channel. This is all about topical steroid withdrawal. I decided to start to make these videos to get more information known about topical steroid withdrawal to the world, to the people who are suffering, to the people who are going through topical steroid withdrawal and need guidance, need information. And to get this information out there. So first of all, what is topical steroid withdrawal? It's a condition you can get by using topical steroid cream. Usually it's prolonged use of these creams. Some people also report that they of their child is going into topical steroid withdrawal with a quite short use of the creams. But it depends on a lot of different things. It depends on, of course, the time it's been used, but also the potency of the cream. So there are super potent creams out there, and they can get people into topical steroid withdrawal sooner. Why it happens to one person and not to the other, or why some people have already topical steroid withdrawal after shorter usage compared to others, is not known. So this condition is still very unrecognized by the general doctors, and is not researched. So all the information that we have comes from the 10,000s of people who started posting their story in blogs, in videos, on Instagram, and they become more and more and more people, because more and more people find out about it and then recognize, oh, this is what is going on with my skin, and they decide to stop and have the same experience as many of us. So they just start reporting as well. We already have 3 documentaries now about topical steroid withdrawal, and we have a couple of doctors and dermatologists in the world who now finally recognize the conditions and are also willing to get into the media, make videos, and tell the world about this condition. And we're making some progress. Also, the Eczema Association is now putting topical steroid withdrawal on their website, that this is a possibility of the use of prolonged use of steroids. The use of steroids is discussed in Parliament in England, and so on. We're making little progresses. But what we also see is that some dermatologists now know that it's a thing, although they know very little about it, but are afraid to be open about it. For example, the dermatologist where I went to is in this position because it's such a delicate topic, and some colleagues say, hey, I want to know more, what can you tell me about this condition? But others say, colleagues might say, this is rubbish, and why are you bringing this out there? So for a lot of dermatologists, I understand also it's difficult. So what happens in topical steroid withdrawal? A lot of time people notice that when they use the creams, that at a certain point, so prolonged use, for me it was 33 years of using the creams, something is strange is happening with the skin. So things you can notice. For some people the creams don't work anymore at all. Other people even have a sort of allergic reaction to the creams. So they don't have any other option than to stop using them. Some people notice that the spots are different somehow, like they're growing in size and they're migrating on the body to places they never had eczema before or anything. And something else that can be noticed, for example, is people getting photosensitive. So they can't be in the sun anymore. Even 30 seconds in the sun will give them a sunburn. So they notice that the skin is not working anymore. It can't defend itself anymore. So this was the case for me. I got very sun sensitive, and my so-called eczema or rash became bigger and bigger and migrating to places that are not typical eczema places, and I never had eczema before, where my skin was always very healthy. At a certain point, I went to the beach and the sun during wintertime to find a solution, and usually the beach and the sun for many people clears up the skin very, very well. But this time it got worse. I couldn't be in the sun. I got sunburned within 30 seconds, and I started researching and researching, and I got to the point I had to acknowledge to myself I was on a very probable, likely positions of having to stop the steroid creams and going through topical steroid withdrawal. So I prepared myself the best I could. I read everything about it. I knew what to expect. I knew how bad it could be. I informed my family. I informed friends. I made sure that I didn't have to work for half a year, the coming half year. And I mentally prepared myself. And I think this part is really, really important, because anybody who thinks he's on the verge of topical steroid withdrawal and thinks, okay, I'm gonna quit the next day, and you're not prepared, then it's way, way, way too heavy. And these people find themselves back on the steroid creams within usually days or weeks or months, just because they can't. You can't keep up your normal life. You can't keep on working and having a normal life when you go through the withdrawal. So preparation is everything. So I was in a very good position. I was that time in a holiday to prepare myself very thoroughly, and I stopped using the cream. So what happens to people when they stop using the cream? Because when you stop using the steroid cream, you can expect a certain kind of rebound effect. No, you stop, so the rash will come out more severe, but then it would calm down and you go to your original spots of rash or eczema. With topical steroid withdrawal, something very, very different happens. So you get worse, and then you get worse, and then you get worse, and you get even worse. Things that happened to me, the rash spread all over my body, full body rash, on places where I never had rash before and never even used the creams. The skin gets extremely hot, like it's damping off of you almost. It's unbearable to wear clothing because your clothing gets damp very fast. You're shivering, you're intensely cold. You start oozing, so fluid comes out of your skin. In my case and in other cases I have read, the fluid that comes off of you is extremely stinking. Other things you might encounter is nerve twitching. So especially at night, during the night, your limbs would just move, your hand just move out of itself. Many people find it completely impossible to sleep. It's very unclear yet if this is because you are, of course, you become in a sort of flight and fight modus. Because what happening is to your body is very, very extreme. You are actually very, very sick. So of course you are afraid and more in flight or fight. So this might be a reason why you can't sleep at all. And you are very, very itchy during the night. But it might also be because of stopping the steroid creams that this has an effect on sleep. We don't know yet. Other symptoms, you might get swollen. The face might go swollen, or eyes. You can get very swollen. Some people have hair loss. Many people report a very big drop in weight. Other people report that they can't have their menstruation anymore for a period of time. The skin becomes extremely thin, so what you didn't see probably when you were using the creams, the skin has thinned a lot, but it gets so thin that even slight touches will damage it, and more oozing will come out. There was not a second in the day that I could find comfort. Every second of the day was torture, and I can't imagine it now anymore, but the days were so long. Even an hour took so long to pass. It was horrendous. So this happens when you come into topical steroid withdrawal. It's a syndrome with a lot of many symptoms. So it's very different when you stop using a cream and you're not in real topical steroid addiction yet. The reaction is, it's really very different. Topical steroid withdrawal syndrome is very different and very easy to, I think, very easy to notice that this is very different than just normal eczema. A lot of people get very red skin. It's also called red skin syndrome. And it's very typical because it stops usually at, they have red sleeves. Sometimes a little bit on the palm can be as well, but it suddenly stops. So how long you were in this state depends so much on the things I mentioned before. How long have you been using? How big was the surface? On which places you use it? How thick or thin was your skin, your natural skin, to begin with? Maybe overall health, we don't know. So this is also a thing that is scary. People don't know how long they're gonna be in this very intense phase. So on average, I hear, and I've read many stories. On average, it's 3 to 6 months, I would say, that this really tough phase is going on. So for me, I was on the side of 3 months, and I'm lucky because I couldn't have done it longer. It broke me. It really broke me. And I could get through it because of the help of a very loving boyfriend and a very loving parents and a very loving mother, who was in my bed with me every night to touch my skin on other places very gently so I could calm down and try to fall asleep and not be itchy. So the severity of the different symptoms can be, for one person a lot stronger, another person other symptoms are a lot stronger. So some people are extremely oozy, like it runs down their body the whole time, night and day. They have to sleep on multiple towels because they get wet during the night. For other people, the itching is the most horrible symptom they have, and it's a very deep itch. It's a bone itch. You really want to rip your flesh off. It's a horrendous kind of itch. So which symptom is stronger for a certain person is also, it varies. So in this first phase, you have to just get through it and try to make yourself as comfortable as possible. Many people find that the only time they find relief is in the bathtub. So they take very long baths, a lot of times with that sea salt or Epsom salt. And at least when they're in the bathtub, they don't have itchiness, they are warm, they are not shivering, and they're comfortable. So I spent about 4 weeks that I was so severe that I couldn't find any relief at all. So I also went into the bathtub about 4 hours a day, that at least I had some break time and at least I could read a book and relax a bit and have some comfort during my day. But it's not the best for the skin to be in a bath so long, of course. So as soon as I noticed that my skin got a little bit better and thicker, I stopped this and kept myself warm with warm water bottles and an electric blanket to get through the day. So this is the first phase, and actually in this first phase it's not very known what we can do to improve the situation. Of course, it's always important to look at your overall health as best as you can. Even before starting topical steroid withdrawal, make sure you are in the best position you can, diet-wise, stress-wise, that you build down all your activities, that you are in a good place, a home where you feel safe, where you have everything at hand, like clean sheets, clean towels, washing machine, where you can take good care of your body. But something to really alleviate this first phase, I've tried many things and nothing worked. There are some things that you can try against the oozing. Many people, and for me as well, the zinc cream helps. It helps dry out a certain spot and the oozing can get less. A lot of people do something called NMT, which is moisturized withdrawal. So you don't get any water on your skin, you don't shower, you just wash on the places where you want to wash with a cloth, for example, and you let basically the skin dry out. And many people also reduce their intake of liquid, of water, and this helps to stop or make a lot less the oozing. So you can research this, and you have to really look into it, how to do it in a safe way, because of course you don't want to damage your kidneys or drink too little. You still have to have liquid in your body system, of course, to be healthy. But for many this gives a big relief. And then if the skin dries out, it can start flaking, and the hotness get less and the inflammation get less when you get flaking. So flaking is a very good sign. It's very good to keep the flakes on your skin. So bathtubs can help. Staying warm with water bottles, electric blanket can at least give more comfort. The zinc cream is what most people was useful to them to dry out the ooze. The no moisturize therapy, the NMT, is for a lot of people helpful. Especially when there is lots and lots of oozing. For me, I just didn't use any creams anymore, and I didn't put any water on it anymore. I just keep drinking fluid as much as I wanted to, because my oozing was not my most severe symptom. So I did not have oozing during the day, and I had it only at night, which was still horrible because it stings and you're wet and you have to clean your bed the next day every day. You're scared of touching yourself or scratching yourself because immediately ooze comes out and you break your skin, and of course your skin gets very prone to infection. The ooze has, what I understood, a lot of protein in them. Sometimes it can even smell a bit sweet, and germs love this, so they love to get in those patches. So in the first phase, where it is so intense, infections are very common, and people get very scared for infection, which is normal because it's reality. You can get infected very easily in that phase. So you have to have very good hygiene, and there are some ways to clean your little wounds. I had to do every morning a full checkup, where I scratched too much, where I had little wounds. I used colloidal silver to clean. I used Manuka honey, pure Manuka honey also cleans. I used at some point creams from my dermatologist because I did get infected, and I didn't want to take oral antibiotics because I already have gut problems. So I used the topical antibiotic creams, and hooray, I did succeed. A month later, it took really a month to battle the infections, but to solve the infection, because with the infection your skin cannot heal. Also, you need sleep. In this very first period, it's very important that you sleep, because during your sleep, especially the hours between 10 and 3 in the morning. This is the time when your skin can heal. So in my case, I really decided to take sleep medication. I used herbal ones, I used melatonin, I used the one from the doctor, and rotate between them. But whatever happened, I wanted to sleep for my mental health and for my skin to repair. If you can get exercise in this phase, even if it's painful, but just walking, even if it's 15 minutes, you activate your blood flow, your limbic system, your body can more easily get rid of toxins. Plus, what I noticed, if I did exercise a certain amount of time, I had more warmth in my body, more body heat, and this really helped against this really intense shivering and cold. But in terms of therapies, I don't think there's anything you can do in this phase. There are people who can't, for whatever reason, sometimes you have children and you can't go through this extreme phase, and they use medication like cyclosporin or Duplimax, immunosuppressants. But these medications also have some negative effects for many people. It's tough on the body, it's tough on your liver, tough on your kidneys, but many people report very strong side effects, or that it's only working for example, 3 months or 6 months, and then it stops working, and they still have the side effects from these medications. So some report chronic eye infections, other people report some kind of rash because they become allergic to a fungi that lives normally on our skin, but they become allergic to it. Others report chronic herpes infections. So there are a lot of side effects that can, that have a strong effect and that happen often. So I try to avoid these if you can, if you possibly can, and you can bear it in your life. It is possible to put your life on hold for a certain time. I would recommend try to do it without them. But of course there's completely no judgment on people who have to, because not all life situations are the same. So after this phase, when you get worse and worse and worse and worse, luckily there's also a turning point where you slowly go up and up and up again. The first signs for me is that I noticed that my skin was getting a little bit more thicker again. It was become a little bit more stronger again, and I could scratch again without immediately being open and oozing or bleeding. And slowly, step by step, this got better. Especially the first month after the turning point, it got better quite fast. Like I could really see and feel every 3 days and weekly that I had improvement. And after that, it more leveled down and went up very, very slowly. So when the skin is a bit more strong, you have options for treatment. So I tried many things, and I completely dived into studying topical steroid withdrawal, reading everything I could, and trying out things that people recommended. So I give you things that worked, and it might not work for everybody because everybody is very different. But I went to the dermatologist because I wanted to have somebody to monitor infections. I found a dermatologist who recognizes topical steroid withdrawal. So I didn't have to have this discussion about using the creams again. And he helped me with this infection I got, which was really, I'm really grateful that I was with him in time. He also offered me UVB light therapy. So I did that too, and if you might want to do this, make sure you only do this in a phase when your skin is already built up. that it gets more strong, more thickness, because otherwise it can be very harmful to your skin. So you really have to be out of this first intense phase. And then when you do the UVB light therapy, they start with few seconds a time. So they start really, really, really low, and you should never get a sunburn. But what it does is that the inflammation calms down, and because of that the skin has can repair itself, and the scratching is less, the itchiness is a bit less, so it has time to repair itself. But with the UVB light therapy, it was very, very obvious that this works only during the UVB light therapy. So once you stop, you go back into the symptoms you had. The UVB light therapy didn't clear up my skin totally, not at all, but it helped me a lot. It really calmed down a lot. The inflammation calmed down. The skin could recover at certain places. It looked completely fine, like my shoulders were completely closed. But when I stopped using the UVB light therapy, within 2 weeks, everything was open again. So it's not really something that heals you, but it gives you some rest. The cups gives you some breath and have less severe symptoms, and have something that helps calm the skin, calm the inflammation, and have some healing. So it was very obvious to me that only the top layer of the skin, for example with the shoulder, was closed, but underneath it was still very damaged skin. Then another option for treatment that is proven to be helping is the infrared light therapy. So what the infrared light does is it helps your skin also to calm down the inflammation. It helps your mitochondria to get rid of waste products, and it helps to have more, the skin can renew itself a little bit easier. The effects of the infrared light are, it's not a very strong effect, so you will have some effect of it, but it will help you, but it's a light effect of what I also hear from other people. Then other option you have is cold plasma therapy, and this works much stronger and much better than infrared. It really helps your skin to start rebuilding and making new skill cells much faster. So your time of healing will be cut a lot more shorter. If you would go up like this in years time, you will go up like this, and maybe in 1 year time you can already be completely healed. So I want to tell a lot more about this topic. I want to tell a lot more about the cold plasma therapy. I'm making actually this video. I'm now in Thailand, in Bangkok. I'm getting treated here. I just had my first treatment two days ago, and I already can see good effect. And there are at this moment 2 places in the world where you can get this treatment. It's in the UK, in England, and in Thailand. I chose for Thailand because here the price of the treatment is 2 or 3 times lower, and also to stay in Thailand, so your costs for living and for food is a lot lower in Thailand, so I could afford it here, and I could not afford it in England. Also for me, warm climate does my skin good, and the winter in Europe for me is very bad for my skin, so also this added up to the decision to go to Thailand. I think I talked a lot now, and there's so much more to share. There is so much more knowledge out there about skin and about topical steroid withdrawal and what actually happens to the skin, but I think this knowledge is still very hidden, you know, in some local places, and most doctors, I think almost all doctors, don't know anything about this. So I want to share a lot more about that. I want to share a lot more about the cold plasma therapy. I want to keep you posted on my recovery, and I'm going to be in Thailand for 3 months in total, which might not be enough for full recovery, because many people need half a year or a full year of treatment. It depends so much on the severity of your topical steroid withdrawal. But I think I can have a major progress in this 3 months. I'm gonna report on it, and in other videos I'm gonna tell you a lot more about the treatment, about how the skin works in topical steroid withdrawal, anything else that comes up. I will probably talk about diet at some point, about other things that might be helpful, or other things that I tried. Yeah, and I just really hope this can help other people. I really, really hope that this can support the community, and that more knowledge is coming into the world for everybody, and also to doctors, that we can make big steps in healing. Okay, thank you for your time and listening, and till soon. Goodbye.